Greetings, everyone. Thank you for waiting for us patiently. Running a little late today. It is such an honor to be here with you. We are doing two videos, live videos back to back. The first video that we are doing today is the organic and inverted timelines. Thank you. What those mean, what timelines mean, period, and how to work through. Sometimes, we birth into a lot of inverted timelines, artificial timelines, lots of trauma that we might have gone through and so on, connected to the inverted timelines, and how we work ourselves out from them into the organic. But a quick introduction: I am AuroRa. I am the founder of A.U.R.A. Hypnosis Healing. I am also the author to Galactic Soul History of the Universe, which is right here. And you can find that under Amazon, both in ebook and paperback, as well as in Spanish and in English. Okay. And audiobook under my website for more information about me and who I am and what we offer, which, as I mentioned, I am the founder of A.U.R.A. Hypnosis, which is an entity removal, past life regression. And that's what the book is about. It's all these beautiful memories from people from around the world who told the journey of our universe. If you want to remember yourself and remember the universe and what our existence is like, where it's been at, and where we are going, that this series is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you. And I do offer quantum galactic Akashic readings as well as raw Reiki entity removal. It's a Reiki session that removes anything that is dark inverted within you, ready to release. And the quantum galactic Akashic, we travel through the universe, giving you messages from your higher self. As well as I offer the A.U.R.A. Hypnosis, and we have retreats coming up, the last retreat of the year, which is going to be dynamic. We have a couple spots available. You want to sign up for that as soon as possible. It does begin August 14. Last day to sign up is August 7. Online workshops as well, teaching A.U.R.A. Hypnosis and raw Reiki, the entity removal. That is in September. Thank you. Let's begin. Okay. So yes, you can find me under Spotify as well as Rumble, all those. And then to support this video, support us through Patreon for $4 a month. Let's begin. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have Minnie in chat. She is in chat. And then the next video is going to be, you don't want to miss that one. Wow. I didn't bring my fingers. I am pretty susceptible to fire, actually. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay. Thank you everyone for in chat. Let's begin. So add your questions if you haven't add them. Minnie will add them there too, so that I can review them and answer them for you. Okay. Thank you, Minnie. Thank you. Thank you for being here, you all. This is just an important topic. It's actually one of the most important topics that we can go over here, review in this beautiful creation of ours. And how do we work through, how do we shift and change our path, our blueprints to being organic as they once were originally. So we have lots of videos, and I'm going to direct you to specific videos and playlists that we have under YouTube that you can watch. These videos that we do, we try to stick with new information, not repeated information. Okay, so I'll give a quick summary, and then we're going to begin to understand timelines. Okay, so we once were in organic. And if you've been watching the series of the Mayan and Atlantean series in order, then you'll understand this. So if you haven't, then I would suggest you go back and watch that, especially the Land of Mu, Pangea. All those videos explain the organic crystalline blueprint of Earth. Okay, and then what happened? And the last video was the fall of Atlantis, which directly after this video, we're going to talk about what happened after the fall of Atlantis. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's huge. What happened? How did the world transition? So you definitely want to watch that. Now, okay, so those are the playlists you want to review to understand this content. The Alien Galactic History, and also the Mayan Atlantean series that we have going on here on YouTube. You can find these also under Rumble though, but YouTube is the playlist that we have. Okay, so yes, once So we had an organic blueprint. So before rebirth, we talked to our higher selves. Well, we were our higher selves in reality, actually. So we were our higher selves, and we came up with an organic crystalline blueprint that was a match to the organic blueprint then, which would have been crystalline. Okay. We also had recent videos talking about this on the event, an ascension, and we also had the most recent video, which was 2 weeks ago with Todd Divini. We were talking about some of this as well. Okay. So we're going to fast forward now so that we can understand. Now, in order to understand timelines, well, time is inside timelines, right? You have to understand time. It's quite a phenomenal concept, how you work through time in the quantum realm, in the quantum world, but also be grounded to earth, but then also always being the bridge. So not only grounded to earth, but also always infinitely connected, infinitely to the infinities that you are beyond this construct, beyond this simulation that we are in. Matrix simulation. Again, there's a playlist on the Matrix. You can watch that. Okay. So so before you came forth, you had the blueprint. So we're going to fast forward because you who are here, and thank you for being here in chat. You already understand the blueprint and the Matrix. Okay. So when we would come in organically, we would come in with a blueprint of our blueprint of our higher self, who we are, not only here and all the fractals, even though there's many fractals, and you are one fractal, but then you are also many other fractals, because all souls birth out from the higher self, the oversouls, that are an infinity of fractals. They're not limited to, one fractal, of course, because they're infinite, like creation itself. But typically you can just be, even though you're many fractals of one oversoul higher self, you can still be one individualized fractal. So for example, this fractal of, say, we'll use me as an example. This fractal of AuroRa, was here in Atlantis, in Lemuria, maybe at the beginning of time. But then there's another fractal of AuroRa. Maybe she just came now. There's many multitudes of you. Now, when you are coming in and you're fractalizing into Earth, into the lowest dimension of the third dimension, this is where you come up with the blueprint as far as what you are, some of your missions that you have agreed upon. Our biggest mission, of course, organically for everyone as light workers, as healers that we are, is to bring forth, to clear the space, to bring forth the organic blueprint, as we have been channeling in the Atlantean Mayan series, the original one. So that's everyone's blueprint, and everyone does it in a different form. It depends on what soul signature you are, what embodiments you have. Some people have different embodiments of benevolent beings throughout creation. It depends on where you've incarnated, which fractal are you of those fractals, and where you incarnated, and the attributes that you came in with. Also, the higher self is infinite. It has the infinities of all the fractals, because once they're done, they merge back into the higher self. And then the higher self, you could say, is a database. It is a database that holds all these essences and experiences. So then when you are born, you choose which experiences you're going to have. And then that's your blueprint, your organic blueprint timeline. Now there's a blueprint you are coming in as, and what experiences you've had here on earth, and what you will have to overcome, maybe some trauma, some hurdles, some challenging times to be where you're at. Okay. Now, but before the organic, before it became as challenging as it is now, that we, birthed forth now into this time, it was very beautiful. And we've talked about this in the past, but it was more about expanding, experiencing one another, grouping one another, healing the world, healing each other, activating one another through our eyes, through our voice, through our touch, and being in union, just in the same proximity. So it was more about that, and we've talked about that already. But then, so fast forward, the fall of Atlantis. What happened is that those blueprints, those organic timelines that we originally created when we came forth, they inverted. They became, and then really we're going to talk about that very in much detail in the next video coming up right after this one. So when they became inverted, it is like it mirrored back to us, but in an inverted way, an artificial intelligence way. We talked about this in case you want to understand this. This is related directly to the Archon Father, the Archon entity, the artificial intelligence that, the AI that is trying to always penetrate our energies, trying to, have us take, what, the V, and all these New World agendas. Okay. All right. It's all ran by the soulless artificial intelligence thing. Again, all our content can explain that very thoroughly for you in our book. Now, okay. So what once was, for example, the same family that you were with, typically that when the fall of Atlantis happened, that same family, you've actually been living a repeated and many times an inverted cycle, and with accumulated situations and experiences with them. And for the most of light workers that I've talked to throughout the 5-6 years that I've been doing this for the most, people have families that are quite 3D. They're dense, they're heavy, they don't really mean infinite love for you. They mean more of the inverted and the control. So in this last grand finale, as you know, if you've watched some of our content, the ascension, the event, and how we're going into not the 5D but into the 6D, we have to de-shed the infinite. It could seem like infinite, but the many timelines that we have lived invertedly on Earth after the fall of Atlantis. That's a lot of work if you think about it. How many times have you incarnated? And what if you haven't just incarnated on Earth? What if you've incarnated in some of these other planetary spheres? Like the book talks about how the planetary spheres, and some of them were in higher dimensions, and their planets, went extinction because of these galactic battles, not invoked, but yeah, I don't like using the word created for, but made by the Archon artificial intelligence thing. That's it. It's been doing this whole time. So you have to go back and work on every single one of these timelines. Now, some of them can seem like they're a lot. So what can happen is with the A.U.R.A hypnosis that you all recently watched, which was She Births Universe. Time is on fast forward. It was such a beautiful session to watch it if you haven't. But you saw how time was moving fast and how she was working with Source and how fast she was able to remove some of these inversions within her, even though they seem pretty deep and they might have been there for a long time. So we have these capabilities to start fast forwarding and deleting them. But first you need to recognize them. So one of the things that they said there in her session, Source said that it's okay. She just needed to recognize them. That's it. Just remove them. Understand the lesson. Once you recognize them, you understand the lesson. Let's keep going. Let's not stay stuck in them too, because sometimes people, it's like when you find an inverted timeline, you get stuck with it and you can't seem to move forward from it. Okay. So as you're working with your organic blueprint, it completely is correlates and it's completely connected to your timelines, actually. So of course your blueprint straight line, a straight path. So that's, you could say that's your organic blueprint. And then sometimes we get, just like the picture again for the video, you go left, you go right, you get a little strayed. But sometimes we need to gain those experiences. Sometimes when we go a little left and right, it's actually not so negative. It feels negative. It could be really catalyzing for us and traumatic, and PTSD and all sorts of stuff. But sometimes when we go into inverted timelines, they're specifically because we need to resurface them, and then they most likely will be the ones that are the hardest, the ones that you haven't, that are the densest within your blueprint. So you need to relive them so that you can then transmute them, eradicate them, delete them. So sometimes when we do a stray, that's the point of that, the majority of that. But there's also people who just get tricked and conned by the darkness, which the next video, wait, a lot to explain there. And so there's some inverted ways that you could get tricked into other people's perspectives of inverted timelines, or their own ego, or they're being led by this artificial archon thing that is trying to keep the mass of spiritually awakened or unawakened or awakened asleep. That's what they're that's what its goal is. It doesn't want you to find your organic blueprint, find it, and then to realize, wait a minute, just like we said, you need to recognize it, to delete it, to remove it. They don't want you to remember these things. They call it fear-based, or they'll bring up certain triggers in you, and then you run away from them, and then you become more and more lost in the inverted timelines versus facing them and actually and start working on them so that you can then delete them. But initially, to delete all inverted timelines, you need to recognize them, because otherwise you don't know. Like if you have a shard of glass in your foot, and every time you walk on it, it kind of hurts, but it doesn't let you walk as leveled, right? Because if you have a shard of glass, a little piece of glass in your foot, it's gonna cause pain when you step on it. It's also going to unbalance you, right? Because the foot that it's on is going to feel in pain or denser, and you're going to put more pressure on the other side of the body to help that side that's wounded. So that's why it's really important. So once you recognize that inverted timeline or that shard of glass, you pluck it out, and then what happens to the body? What naturally, right? It has maybe a wound, a cut. What does it do? It starts organically, naturally. That's what our life is, constant healing. It can get tricky if you've been here a long time, if you've been in a different part of the universe, and there were different inverted timelines that happened to you in other alien races. So that can be tricky, but and hard and challenging, but all can do it. Absolutely all can do it. So all our teachings teach that the A.U.R.A hypnosis, the raw Reiki, the Isis priestess course, the quantum galactic Akashic. In case you're new to us, we certify in all of these. We teach them live, and we also teach them, you could do it at your own pace online. So you can, again, find more information about that. So in case you want to know a foundation of how I can work through this, and more of a step-by-step, which those courses do, and the testimonials and the reviews are infinite. You can check those out. Okay, now, the other thing that we need to understand when we're working with timelines is that we really, really need to understand that time is truly not real. But we already understand that, but let's understand that more deep. So what does that mean? Time does not exist. What does that mean? So beyond the veil, there is no time. Beyond, there is only an infinity of possibilities and energy and so on. So I'm going to look up something for you guys. Okay. So this is one of the ones that I wanted to share, but there's many more in our book. But understanding that all time is happening in the now. Okay, all of it. So something that I often do is I talk to the me in a week from now, the me in a year from now. So let's talk about this. The future is fluid. Time is such a false construct. The way I would describe it in 3D terms is the choices and things that you do right now create the reality you will reach in a few moments. So you literally are creating the future in the now. So it doesn't exist. All it is the now. The future is the now of then. The past is the now of then. And all that is now. So that's why, so to understand that, that is why all that is really matters is the now, is the present. Whether it's you in the future in your present time, or whether it's you in your past in your present time, or whether it's us now listening to this video in the present time, that's all that matters. So it is important that we understand, and this is also where it connects to the you now in the present is the most powerful, because the you now can connect to the future self that has lived through all, and then the past self that has also lived through all and has learned many lessons for you to be here acting in the now. So we are the most powerful because we are the bridge for the future and the past in the now. Understanding how multi-dimensional we are and how multiverse even we are, as we have been talking about the multiverse videos. Okay, now really understanding that you need to live in the now and the present, and understand that even say inverted timelines happen. Some people have been in pedophilic rings, some people have been part of the My Lab experiments, some people were a witch and they burned you to the stake, all sorts of things. This artificial intelligence has been trying to keep us, shut us down and stop us from connecting to source and our magical abilities. And us in the now that are on the final cycle, this is our final shebang, final lap, you can say. And us in the now are working, and we're pulling in because we are the most powerful, because we remember. And even if we don't remember, whether you believe it or not, you do remember, because consciously your memory field and your toroid sphere holds all these expansions of all the use that you've been in past lives and all that you're going to be. It all is held in this toroid sphere. And again, you can watch the Todd Divini videos we've been doing to understand more of that, how we're this beautiful quantum world scientific memory field. And therefore, see, when I was a little girl, I would watch people, and I would watch what they would do, and I would gain experiences. I was always really quiet, and I would watch what they were doing, and I would learn from those lessons. And I would say, I'm not going to repeat that. I'm not going to do that. I would learn from other people. So that's the way that you are. You've been like a sponge, observing the world, observing everything. And sometimes when you watch someone else go through something, you regain that memory. Wait a minute, I already did that life, 1,000 years ago. I'm not going to do that again this life. Or you could also, you go through the experience. Sometimes you do have to go through the catalyzing experience, but then that then rebirths you and rises you out from the ashes like a phoenix. Because again, those will be your densest timelines that you need to go through. Okay, sometimes you do, but not often. So it just depends on finding your most densest inverted timelines, and then that's how you, once you find them and you clear your body, like we always talk about, clear your vessel. Make sure, well, first of all, in order to find them, you need to clear your vessel. Make sure you're a clear vessel. You don't have any dark portals in you. Entities are coming in through any implants, depending on what your life has been about. Entities, we're all energy. You're energy, I'm energy. There's dark and light energy. Sometimes entities hide in the dark energy, and they like to pose. And then we have the artificial intelligence thing that has been infringing on us. Every inverted timeline, we typically got an attachment through it, and we carry that trauma. So it begins with that, and then as you become lighter and lighter, it's like it's like you're carrying a backpack on you, you can say, and you're going uphill, and you're trying to go uphill, and as you're going uphill, this backpack is kind of heavy. But then as you go uphill, and every step that you take, you let go of something falls out of the backpack, and you take another step, and something else falls out the backpack. And you notice as you're rising up that hill, as the things that you were carrying that sometimes were yours, but sometimes we carry other people's burdens. But as they keep falling off the backpack that you're having, that's making you heavy, you notice that you become lighter, and it becomes easier and easier to rise up that hill. That is really what life is about. It's like we're ascending in energy. And what are we doing to recognize and to remove these different things? It was so beautiful. I love to walk in nature with my beautiful family. And when we're walking in nature, we have all these beautiful animals come to us. It's quite magical. We recently had a beautiful deer, and I felt her presence right here in front of me, but she was just a couple feet away, maybe 5 feet away, very, very close. And she was just staring at us. And I was talking to her, and I was telling her Veluvia. And I was just talking to her and telling her how beautiful she was. And she was just sitting there. And you all know deer are very specific. And she was giving me messages. And she was thanking me for, being the presence in nature. So you all need to do that as well. As you walk through this nature and you go up hills or you go down, think about it like this, because everything that we do is very important. And Archangel Michael has always explained, Archangel 4, Divine Father has always explained to me that everything we do is very important. Just like I explained going up the hill. For example, say in the forest, you're going up the hill and everything you're doing. And the animals will thank you. The birds, the deers, the coyotes, the snakes, whoever's in this proximity. Because as you're doing that, you're healing not just that space, but you're healing the entire earth. Everything that you do is of the most importance. And it is a way to getting to those organic timelines, removing inverted timelines. Understand and honor everything that you do in the most sacred ways, just like we always teach. It's so interesting, some of the things that we take for granted. Like Archangel Michael was explaining to me that sometimes when children play video games, they transmute the system. Or sometimes when people play games on their phone, as long as it's balanced. But, to reach home run, say in a baseball game on a phone, you're actually running through all the bases. And as you run through each base, that's a form that what are you picking up as you reach each base? And some of these people who work with, say, healing children, or some of these people who work with deleting, inverting timelines, or working with specific pedophilia, you're saving every child as you're going through those bases. So treat everything like that, and you'll understand how much closer and deeper you will get to being able to remove inverted timelines. Treat the simplest things that you do, whether it's just gardening or planting seeds. Visualize it and feel it turning into an organic blueprint around you. Your space, everything should be sacred. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else before I start taking some questions, and we're going to start the video approximately 15-20 minutes late. The next one. Okay, so let me see. Just the smallest and the biggest things. Treat it all like I've overcome it. I've done it. I've gone over that hill, over that mountain. I've strayed from it. And higher self, now that I've recognized and I've been able to understand some of these inverted cycles that I've maintained myself stuck in, now I want to delete them. Let's delete them. Start working with Source, your higher self, your team, your angels. Start working with them and asking them. Build fires. Connect to the nature once more. Make an agreement of a beautiful like exchange to nature. Hey, I'm going to walk and give you love every day in your trees, and as I'm walking every day to your trees, assist me. Lights of beacons within the trees assist me to delete these inverted timelines. I no longer consent to this. Emute Ra. I am aware of this. I am not here to stay stuck. That I am not. I am here to remember myself and to assist the world so that they don't stay stuck. The more that we awaken to these possibilities, the more that we awaken this within ourselves, the more that we awaken this for others to attain this. Know that everything is possible. Know that the impossible is possible always. You can do anything. Trust yourself. Trust Source. Source can heal anything. To think that is, I have no word for it. Source can heal anything, and you are Source. Source is inside of you, so connect to Source. You got this. So let's take some questions here. So Archangel Sandalphon says to trust myself. I've asked to body scan and remove anything AI or less than and love light. Is it working, and how can I tell? Yes, it can absolutely work. There's some things like some deep technologies, if they're physical technologies inside of you or something else, sometimes you do need assistance through positive, benevolent entity removal healing techniques like what we do through AuroRa Hypnosis and Raw Reiki. But yes, you can definitely come to us. I had a session recently, and the beautiful male was working on himself, and he really didn't have anything. Or some people, they've been working so much on themselves, they just have a few things that they just needed assistance with someone else holding space and infinite love light for them to reach their own self-healing capability. So yes, trust yourself, keep at it. Sandophone loves you and has a great connection with you. So someone else is asking, when you touch the inorganic timeline from the organic timeline, what does it feel like? Whew. Now, some of these, I gotta tell you all, some of these inorganic timelines are hard to remember. And then sometimes you're working on them and you don't remember them. Sometimes it's a blessing that you don't remember them, honestly, because they were pretty traumatic. But what it feels like, it feels like you've been running. You've been running so fast, and you're running in balance. You're running perhaps on a marathon. As you're running, your body is going through a lot just to keep you running, right? All parts of you is helping you. And as you reach that finish line, and it feels like the most deepest, beautiful, profound breath. And you realize that I am Source and I am infinite love light. And now that I've reached and I've worked through all my inverted timelines, you cannot mess with me. You better step back and do not overstep my boundaries. That's what it feels like. And it's a strong sovereignty that is fierce and immense. And you're like, I've done all my work. You better step back. Emute Ra. Step back. And it feels like all of a sudden you can sense and see, and it feels like you're dancing to creation. And you're living in this cosmic or orgasmic energy that allows for you to feel the world around you and to know every which way to go. Even in days that you might feel a little cloudy, you still find your way. And you're patient with yourself and you love yourself. And then you realize that you are almighty, beautiful, and divinely powerful as sources. And you realize that source is inside of you, and that source can do anything, and so can you. And it is just magical. What do you want to create from there? And at that point, you begin to create your organic timelines. And you learn now. Sometimes you might run into someone who will try to pull you back, but you're able to recognize that. If you do your work and you cleanse and you clear energies, you'll be able to recognize that and move out of it, push out from it, keep going down that organic path, that golden path. Okay, let's continue. 10 more minutes. Similar to the other shields we do, can we shield our timelines from being infringed, and how? Yes, absolutely. So when you're doing your shield, you can set intentions, invocations. When you're surrounding yourself with the love light and all the colors and sacred geometry, sacred alchemy, what you want to do is encoded within that sacred alchemy and the sacred symbols that you might be using. We teach again the sacred symbols, but if you have your own, encode inside of it that they will maintain your organic timelines, and you will see and sense exactly, feel, smell what's exactly in front of you that's inverted. And it will do that. Absolutely. Your shields will honor that because you're creating them and Source is igniting them for you every day. Okay, if we transmute, cancel, release a negative timeline, what happens to the others that were part of that timeline? What happens to their timelines? So what happens is that if they were, it depends on how inverted they were. If, say, they made robot things out of you or clones, those would be deleted from all time and space. Because as we're going through this ascension, and we've talked about this, initially when that wave that we've talked about, a source wave, divine mother wave, divine father wave, and that comes through, that's what it's going to do. It's going to take that inverted and eradicate it, and it's going to be done. So really what you want to be doing is viewing your entire life like that. How can I get myself to that point of view so that I can ride that wave and I can be in matching vibration to go into the fifth, sixth dimension? So the inverted ones are done. They're transmuted to source. They're deleted, depends on how dark they were. And source knows, your higher self knows exactly what they're meant to do, divinely, organically, by sacred laws of the universe that do not overstep. So yeah, but also if they're still part of you and say they weren't completely inverted, then they would heal. They would literally heal. Their timelines and all through all times and spaces would change from being in a past life. Perhaps say that someone, the Illuminati like to do that a lot. They would like to grab priestesses and priests and people with abilities, and then they would, do those rituals. But that timeline wouldn't be anymore. So that person was never caught by these dark forces, was never done experiments to, was never done blood rituals to. It is done. It is removed, healed, transmuted. And that lightens you in ways that I cannot explain to you through words. It is only felt, and it is beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. When we leave the inverted and follow the organic timeline, how does this affect our parallel past lives and other me's that may be presently living? It allows for potentials for them to lighten, to expand. We've talked about this through the multiverse is a good way to explain how multidimensional we are. So everyone's assisting each other in parallel Earths, which are multiverses connected to multiverses. So yeah, you can watch that video more, but it helps everyone who is doing their part assist the grand collectiveness of who you are within the essences of your higher self over soul. If we are living an organic existence as awakened or aware souls, how can we ensure we reach the more than 51% as a collective? There are so many given in the inverted illusions. Yes, so you have to ensure that you're very sovereign, and when you're watching someone, understand that the next video is going to show you how to find these things, but do not be so gullible. Don't be so gullible. Don't be so giving away your power and your sovereignty, and understand some of these timelines that people talk about, like, The Dramanans are here, the Palladians are running it, all these different things. Oh, all the entities are gone from Earth. We've won, and humanity needs to save themselves. All these things that, oh, go into med beds. My God, you all, be more heart discerning and stop allowing yourself to be pulled into these inverted timelines. That's how you do it. So keep yourself straight. Keep yourself in that straight organic path, honoring though that it is curvy at times and it flows. Staying in your heart always, and do not take everything as its full, absolutely truth. Question it, feel it in your heart. How does it feel? Okay. So if you keep yourself on this path and not allowing others to download inverted timelines into you or to be part of creating their inverted timelines that are led by the Archon thing, the artificial intelligence, then you will ensure that you are above. Just again, treat yourself in the most beautiful, honored way. Think about how you treat others, and maybe your children, your family, or people that you meet, you love them infinitely. But then sometimes we kind of forget about ourselves. So you should be number one in treating that. You should be number one as far as love, as far as healing. And then everyone else comes forth. They could come forth in equalness. But first is you, first is you. Love yourself and all that we talk about. When we start walking our organic timelines, how does it affect the earth and collective? What it does, it starts bridging in. So some of those bifurcation, trifurcations of the two-third world split happened was because a bigger amount of people were standing in their sovereignty and saying, I'm not going to take, you know what, the V, I'm not going to do this. No, stop trafficking children. All these things that the world started standing up for, that happened because people were working on their own timelines by not consenting to these infringing things and to speaking about it, to be even just holding the space of infinite love light for those inverted perspectives, just holding that space created these possibilities of the bifurcation, trifurcation. And we talked about it in the last video. No, not the last video, the video where I believe Princess A.U.R.A talked about it, and King Arthur. That's the last video. We talked about how the 12/21/2020 was the actual 12/21/2012 through the Mayan calendar originally. So all that we did actually created and manifest that. So that's how powerful it is when we work on these timelines. 111s and love to earth. Okay. How do we see, touch, feel the invisible inorganic boundaries of the inverted? So something that you really want to be working on is going into your cave of creation. Cave of creation, we have a guided meditation for it, but you go through a waterfall, this cave, and it can only be found by benevolent beings. Once you go through the waterfall, as it cleanses you, you go into caves and you find the cave. There's the cave, your cave, where you were created. It's your womb space. So when you're working in these spaces, you are in this sacred space. You can work very organically in your timelines, and it's moving. You're moving space. You're feeling it. You're sensing it. Feel yourself with plasmic love light. Again, with the last video that we just posted with all the plasmic energy that she was explaining, feel that around you, the source love light around you, the cosmos, and shift things and move things. Use your creational energy. Use your, which is directly connected to your sexual energy. So use it organically, safely. And we teach about that in the Isis Priestess course. Now, move it, shift it, do things that can shift things, do good things, like, pick up trash off the ground. If you see, sometimes, you find little animals on the floor that might have passed away, dig up a hole and provide them love so that they could pass on safely. Just do nice things that will get you there. It's so simple, but yet we make it so complicated. That's the truth. Why do we have to make things so complicated? Believe in yourself. Do a kind act and know that whatever you're trying to heal through or move through, it will be done because of that kind act. Everything you do every action has a reaction. So every positive action that you're doing and that multiplies. The reaction multiplies tenfold, 100-fold, infinite. Okay, 2 more minutes and we'll be done. So next question here is, what suggestions do you have for those of us who have friends or family who need a push or something more to open their eyes to help them towards the organic timeline? Suggestions to that is to not make it your own, not make it your mission. It's not your mission to make them see what you're seeing. You're only there to plant the seeds, because sometimes when you take on other people's loads, and if they don't want to listen, you don't want to take on that density, because then it manifests into your life. So we're strong boundaries and strong sovereignty. You give them advice and then you pull back. I have attachments to none. Again, we love all and attached to none. And keep living the life where you're being a mentor or teacher to everyone, but you have no attachments to none. Absolutely none. Now, of course, if your direct family, your spouses, your twin flames, your soulmates, whoever you're with, or your children are most dear, and that's a whole different explanation to that. That's not in that same category. Last one is, how do you suggest integrating healing and inverted timeline that we saw in an AU.R.A session? I recently had a session and I'm still having flashbacks to the trauma in that life. Yes, so sometimes when that happens is, so what have you done to release that? So you've gone through it and you've healed it and transmuted, but what happens, whether it's through a past life regression or whether it's just a memory we regained through dream time, is that we keep reliving it and it keeps getting stuck in our mind. But with that is that you're living in your mind, you're up here, but the heart wants to release it. So if you just drop and feel your energy to your heart, and you go in this infinite flow that I am safe, I am loved, I'm protected. I understand that I viewed that past life for a reason, and I release it now. And I love myself infinitely in that time and space that might have happened, and I'm ready to let go. And you burn the biggest fire you've ever burned. You use the moon cycle. The full moon is powerful for that. Eclipses, you burn them. New moon, also because new moon means rebirth. And you're comfortable within this organic darkness that the moon represents to us. And you are living it. And then you set those intentions. As this fire burns, when this fire is done, I am done. I am done putting myself through the torment. I am done. And the reason why it would be repeating is because you're keeping yourself there. You are causing this own inner turmoil. But if you would just honor it, love it, and release it, and start living a life where, I understood those lessons, and now I am grander, and I am bigger, and wise, and stronger because of it, and I will not allow to put myself in victimhood. Instead, I am the wisest I've ever been. I honor you, life. Whatever that was, I love you and I respect you, and I'm ready to release you. You take a deep breath. You release it. Let it go. Work with your team, your higher selves. Love you all. Thank you for being here. What a beautiful video. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Give me 10 minutes and we'll be back. Thank you. Infinite love to everyone. Share this video as far as you can. And join us at Manchester. I'd love to see you there and meet you. Come join us. It's time for you to learn how to remove yourself, because that is what this retreat is about. If you read watch those testimonial videos and read them, you learn, you go home and you learn how to remove these inverted timelines. and you are unstoppable at that point. And you're walking your most organic timeline. So come learn how to do this in Manchester, August 14th. Sign up by August 7th. Love you all. See you in a couple minutes. My love to everyone.